Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something that's really shaking things up in the mobile app world. We're talking about iOS 26 and the chaos it's causing for a lot of apps. If you've been hearing things like, hey, our app just stopped working after the iOS 26 beta, or maybe, Apple rejected our build again, well, you're definitely not imagining it. It's a common story right now.
Yeah, it really is. And what's key here, I think, is that this isn't just, another bug fix coming down the pipeline. iOS 26 feels like it's setting up a whole new reality, especially for hybrid frameworks. The technical root of it, Apple's basically removed support for older just-in-time runtimes, the JIT runtimes, and they're also blocking certain ways people were integrating JavaScript core.
Okay, right. So let's dig into that. Our goal here is to really explain what's going on, why it's hitting popular tools, like React Native so hard, and what this kind of new world means for you. Maybe for listeners not super deep in compiler stuff, could you give us a quick idea? What is a JIT runtime? Why is pulling it such a big deal?
Sure. So JIT just-in-time runtimes, they're essentially performance boosters. They take JavaScript code and compile it into the phone's native language, like right when the app is running, on the fly. And this makes JavaScript-heavy apps feel much snappier, more responsive.
Ah.
So Apple removing support for these, specifically the legacy ones and unofficial integrations, it's not like an accident. It forces these hybrid frameworks to totally rethink how their JavaScript actually runs efficiently and securely on iOS.
Wow. Okay. That does sound pretty major. Not just a tweak, it really sounds like, as our sources put it, Apple just pulled the rug out from under these frameworks. So this feels deliberate. What's the bigger picture here for Apple? What are they trying to achieve, maybe beyond just, performance tweaks?
Well, it certainly looks like a strategic move to tighten their grip on the platform. It's about control. By
Yeah.
closing off these routes that kind of bypass their standard native ways of doing things, they're nudging developers, maybe pushing is a better word, towards Apple's own preferred tools and methods.
Right, the native paths.
Yes, exactly. Which are often more performant, but also more locked into their ecosystem. And this isn't just about one specific technology either. It hits a whole range of things. We're seeing React Native feel it, especially older setups, maybe using custom JSI runtimes. That JavaScript interface layer really leaned on JIT.
Mm.
But it also affects things like Capacitor and Cordova plugins, some Flutter implementations, even stuff running inside WK WebView if it bundles a custom JS runtime.
That's a wide net. Okay. So for you listening, if your app suddenly broke after you installed the iOS 26 beta, or maybe your latest submission to the App Store got bounced back, this architectural shift is likely the reason why you're facing those headaches. So what are developers doing? Are there like quick fixes, or is this pushing people fundamentally towards native code?
It's definitely forcing people to stop and think. There are a few paths emerging. Some teams are looking into upgrading to newer framework versions that are, built to comply with these new rules. Others are trying to figure out different ways to run their JavaScript, maybe relying more on ahead-of-time compilation or totally different ways to bridge to native code.
Okay.
And yeah, for some, especially if performance is absolutely critical or they need deep system access, this might just be the push they needed to go fully native on iOS. It's a big strategic crossroads for a lot of development teams right now.
Right. So wrapping this up for you, the listener, what's the main thing to take away here? It seems like iOS 26 isn't just another update. It's a really foundational change in how Apple views certain ways of building apps. They're sort of reshaping the rules of the game for how apps work on iPhones and iPads.
Exactly. And if you zoom out a bit, thinking about the bigger picture, this kind of platform-level decision, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does this mean for, like, the long-term stability of choosing one development approach over another? How should you, as someone building or relying on apps, think about these shifts, especially for cross-platform strategies? It's something to chew on.
Absolutely. A really important question. This deep dive it just scratched the surface, but it highlights a critical moment. It's really vital to keep an eye on how these big OS updates ripple out and affect everything else in the tech world. Definitely keep exploring what this means for you.